Let's talk application privacy. It's Morningstar News. All right, so a quick one here, but before we get into it, just our kind of general thoughts about the whole privacy issue and data collection and this new thing that Apple is doing, which is requiring app manufacturers, developers to disclose what types of data they're collecting. And for the end user, in the iOS apps to actually approve this data collection. Our opinion on this whole thing is collect the data that you're collecting. I think it's been fine. People didn't know about it, so we're happy that Apple and Google, to a certain extent, they're not doing as good a job. But this new feature that Apple is doing, basically putting it in the face of the app users, telling them what data is being collected. So it's up in their face, and they know what's happening. So this, along with things like tracking your data across websites, because it's used for advertising and things like that. So people start to get an idea of what are your interests, what sites are you browsing, what products are you interested in. And so you go to this one site, and then you go to another site, and they have an idea of what type of person this is, even if you're not specifically opting into it. I think it might be just the UK or Europe that requires you to, some places in Europe require you to opt into cookies, but that's basically how they're doing it nowadays. There's all this data collection going on that people aren't necessarily aware about, but it's out there. And right now, they're just trying to make that more transparent that it's happening. And we're okay with this. We like getting personalized recommendations. We like that they know that this is us and this is something we might be interested in. Of course, we have ghostery and ad block and things like that block certain types of tracking and block ads and things like that. So our experience is different across the platforms. But the general user, I would say the majority of users don't have those types of extensions in place. So they're getting tracked, and they're getting marketed towards based on what these back-end data systems and algorithms and things like that think they're interested in. I think it was during their earnings call, Facebook CEO was talking about how Apple's new basic privacy policies, having the apps have to fill out this form saying this is the data we're collecting and presenting it to the user to basically authorize. Facebook is worried about this because it's gonna scare off the users. They're already doing it. All these applications are already doing all this tracking, but now it's being put in the user's face, and that scares them. It scares Facebook because it scares the users, right? But it's already happening. They're just trying to be more transparent about it. And really good on Apple for this. I think they're really good with trying to make sure that everything is transparent as far as privacy goes, because they really want their stuff locked down. They want people to opt into those sorts of things. I think that's one of Apple's big things. And in contrast with Google, their policies are kind of all over the place. And that's just Google in general, because their store is a lot less strict, I guess we'll say, when compared to the Apple App Store. So Facebook is concerned about this, and they tried to sue Apple over this, and I think that just got thrown out. So they're going to comply with this, but they're trying to get ahead of this. I think iOS 14.5 will probably be released in a couple of weeks, and that's when these privacy policies and these notifications to users will be shown to the user. So yeah, that's in a couple of weeks that's happening. We've known that this has been coming for a while now, but it's been delayed and delayed. But it looks like with iOS 14.5, that it's finally coming. Curious what people think about this. The prompt, I think, again, we say prompting and letting people know that this data collection is happening is a good thing, because it's happening whether they tell you about it or not. Apple is just making people tell you about it. So I think that's a good thing. I know that people have concerns in general about the data being even collected in the first place, and tracking your data across devices. So I think Facebook being forced to do this, everyone being forced to do this if you want to be on the iOS platform and Apple devices, is a good thing. And I think with Facebook getting in front of this, trying to tell their users why this is a good thing, might open people's eyes as to why this is a good thing. And of course, there are concerns in exactly what data is being tracked. I don't think they have to be that, granular as to what they're tracking, or how they're tracking, or how they're using that data. So that is a little bit of a concern. Privacy policies don't spell it out 100%. So you're not getting complete transparency, but I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. So yeah, again, just curious what everybody else thinks, because we know this is kind of a hot topic with regards to privacy, because it's definitely a concern. And ad blockers and things like Ghostry that block ad tracking across sites and stuff like that are a thing for a reason. So yeah, that's all we've got for you today. A couple links in the description, but just wanted to give an update on this, because it's something going into the future. I think this is going to be more and more. It's we're collecting more and more data, so it's something that I think Apple is doing this to get ahead of it. Because it can become a problem if there's no transparency. So yeah, that's all we've got for you today, and take care. Man, we just rambled like that. We have opinions on this basically, but we know that people they're concerned about privacy, and being tracked and all this stuff. And Big Brother and Big Google and Apple, they have all this data on us. And I mean Amazon too, right? And Facebook and Twitter, and all this data coming together. And these companies can get a lot of information about you just based on your browsing habits. And people they know it's happening, but they don't know how much you can figure out by some of this stuff. So it's kind of scary on one side of things, but also I just think it's the future and we have to deal with it. So I'm happy that Apple is going forward with this, and we're just rambling some more, so let's stop. Take care, really, this time. See you.